You want to find it together?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
The Holden Cemetery in Millard County sits atop a hill with sweeping views of the valley.
So I wonder how much Grandpa's life would have changed if that hadn't happened.
Brent Sampson is walking in a place his father, Blaine, walked many times.
So it'd be one just like this.
This is a journey that spans 9 decades and changed the lives of 2 families forever.
Hallowed ground. Just have this feeling.
Shame, grief, and sadness can change the shape of one's soul.
Who knows what our reaction would have been? Certainly shock, like it was when we discovered the letter where he described this.
This isn't an easy story to tell.
This is a letter that my father wrote back in 1974. We found it in a bunch of his effects as we're going through his things.
The letter was only discovered after his father died of old age. It tells of a tragic story from his childhood. On May 28, 1930, Blaine Sampson and his best friend Howard were both 12 years old. These are the words Blaine wrote.
Before we left the cabin, Howard took the gun, loaded it, and gave it to me to carry.
The 2 boys were up early to let the sheep graze in the rolling hills east of Holden.
Let's play and get warm.
As the boys ran and hid among the brush that cool morning, somehow the rifle in Blaine's hand discharged unexpectedly, hitting his best friend.
The bullet struck him squarely in the forehead.
The death certificate states the shooting was accidental, just a horrible tragedy. But Blaine never forgave himself. The death was written about in all the local papers, word reaching all the way to Salt Lake City.
He had to have been just devastated.
He chose not to speak of it for the rest of his life.
I was 4.5 years old when my brother Howard died.
Barbara Stevenson is now 94 years old.
I'll cry when I tell this.
But the events following her brother's death remain clear.
I remember as a child the day of the funeral going up to Blaine. He was sitting in Grandma's parlor in Holden. And I went up to him and I said, "Why did you kill my brother?" Can you imagine what that did to him? But what did I know?
Blaine was sent to live with family in another town shortly after.
I do remember they never blamed Blaine Sampson.
There was never any feelings of resentment about him. He was not blamed.
That's Howard Stevenson, named for the uncle he never got to meet.
I had a certain pride in me being the one chosen to carry that name.
Howard and Barbara Stevenson knew some of what happened so long ago, but knew nothing of the letter and the heaviness Blaine carried for so many years.
For you.
My goodness, and who are you? You haven't got a secret admirer?
I'm Brent Sampson. I'm Blaine Sampson's son.
The 2 families, tied together through tragedy for so long, are meeting now for the first time.
I've relived the moment a million times, kneeling and sobbing over my best friend as he lay dying in the tall grass. I remember vividly standing alone at the cemetery, a short way from the open grave, as they lowered the casket, and watched the lips of Mrs. Stevenson form the words, "My boy, my boy." Tragic scene.
Hearing Blaine's letter for the first time breathes new life into a chapter never quite closed.
It just touched my heart so much to think that he carried that with him in his life, and that it wasn't something that he could just have closure to during his life. I feel very strongly that he's aware of what's happening right now and is probably celebrating that we have gotten together.
This is yours.
Thank you.
There he is. Wow.
And if Blaine was standing here again today, next to his best friend's grave,
I definitely would put my arms around him and tell him it's all right.
I don't fully understand why my grandfather chose to keep it all inside and not seek comfort from our family. Maybe I'll never know.
It was ancient history to us, even after all those years.
But I do know it's never too late to search for understanding, closure, and to finally find peace.
I love you, Dad.
Love you too. And who knows if he's not standing right here now.